Have you ever wondered why some relationships feel like a fortress of trust while others crumble under the slightest pressure? The truth is, it's not about perfection. It's not about strength. It's about one unexpected thing. Something most people avoid, something that feels counterintuitive. But when you do it, it creates an unbreakable bond. Today, I'm going to reveal exactly what that is and why it's the secret to building trust in a young relationship. Stay with me. Vulnerability is the birthplace of trust. It's one of those truths that feels simple, yet it carries profound weight. Most people think of trust as something you give or earn over time through consistency or reliability, but the real secret lies deeper. It's about allowing someone to see your authentic self, including your flaws and imperfections. Vulnerability is not weakness. It's a powerful act of courage. When you open yourself up, you're saying to the other person, I trust you enough to show you who I really am. In young relationships, we often feel pressure to present only our best selves. We polish our words, hide our fears, and cover up insecurities, hoping to appear more attractive or more stable than we feel inside. But that mask eventually becomes a barrier. It becomes a barrier. The other person senses it, even if they can't quite name it. It creates distance. The irony is that what we believe makes us appear stronger is often what makes us seem more distant or less authentic. When we keep our guard up, we deprive the relationship of oxygen. Imagine a young couple in the early stages of dating. One of them struggles with anxiety but tries to hide it, thinking it might scare the other person away. Every time they feel overwhelmed, they pretend everything is fine. But over time, this act becomes exhausting, and the anxiety feels heavier because it's carried alone. Now imagine if instead this person had the courage to say, I've been feeling anxious today. Can I talk to you about it? Suddenly, the dynamics change. The relationship shifts from surface-level interaction to a deeper, more meaningful connection. When you show vulnerability, you're essentially saying, I'm willing to let you see the parts of me that aren't perfect. It's an invitation for the other person to respond with empathy and understanding. You're offering them a role not as a critic, but as a partner. And when they accept that invitation with care, trust is born. They learn they can count on you to be real, and you learn you can count on them to support you. But vulnerability isn't just about revealing personal struggles or anxieties. It's about the willingness to ask for help. In a young relationship, asking for help can feel risky. It might feel like admitting you can't handle everything on your own. Yet, this is exactly where trust takes root. When you ask for help, whether it's with something as small as making a decision or something as big as facing a fear, you're showing that you value the other person's perspective and support. You're showing that you trust them to be there for you. And in turn, you're giving them permission to do the same. This reciprocal vulnerability creates a safe space where both people feel seen and valued. It's no longer about impressing each other with how put together you are. It's about being honest enough to admit when you're not. That honesty becomes the foundation for something real. It builds a relationship where both partners feel free to express their needs, knowing they won't be judged or rejected. Over time, this shared vulnerability solidifies into trust, the kind of trust that can weather disagreements, hardships, and the natural challenges of any relationship. What's more, vulnerability isn't a one-time act. It's a continual process of openness. Each time you're willing to be honest about your feelings or admit you need support, you deepen the trust between you. It's like laying bricks for a solid foundation. Over time, those bricks form a structure so strong that even when the storms of life come, and they will, the relationship can withstand them. So, when you find yourself hesitating to ask for help or share something deeply personal, remember this: vulnerability is the birthplace of trust. It's the starting point, the seed that grows into something resilient and lasting. Trust isn't built by showing you're perfect. It's built by showing you're human. And that is what makes a young relationship strong enough to last. Asking for help is a sign of strength, not weakness. Many people grow up believing that self-sufficiency is the ultimate mark of maturity, that the ability to handle everything on your own without assistance is what makes you competent. But this belief is a trap. In truth, the act of asking for help requires courage and self-awareness. It is a powerful declaration that you recognize your limits and value connection over pride. In a young relationship, This idea becomes even more crucial because asking for help is not just about resolving a practical issue. It's about creating a deeper bond of trust and mutual respect. When we're in the early stages of a relationship, we often try to show our best sides. We want to appear confident, independent, and capable. We don't want to be seen as needy or weak, so we resist asking for help even when we're struggling. But here's the paradox. When you avoid asking for help, you're actually building a wall between you and the other person. You're signaling that you don't trust them enough to be part of your challenges, that you'd rather struggle alone than admit you need support. Over time, this can make the relationship feel shallow and disconnected. On the other hand, when you have the courage to ask for help, you're telling the other person that you trust them. You're inviting them into your world, showing them that their presence matters, and that you see them as a partner, not just a spectator. This act of asking is a gift because it creates an opportunity for the other person to step up, to show you their care and commitment. It invites collaboration and empathy, which are the pillars of any strong relationship. Imagine you're facing a challenge. Maybe you're feeling overwhelmed at work, or you're dealing with a personal issue that's weighing you down. Instead of putting on a brave face and pretending everything is fine, you turn to your partner and say, "I could really use your perspective on this. Or would you mind just being here with me while I sort this out?" That simple request for help can shift the entire dynamic of your relationship. It transforms it from a place where each person operates independently to a space where you navigate life's ups and downs together. This is not a sign of weakness. It's a testament to your strength. It shows you have the humility to admit you don't have all the answers and the confidence to lean on someone you trust. Moreover, asking for help doesn't diminish your worth or capability. It's a sign that you understand the value of shared effort. No one can do everything alone. Even the most successful, self-assured individuals rely on a network of support, whether it's friends, family, mentors, or partners. In relationships, the willingness to seek help fosters a sense of teamwork and belonging. It tells your partner, "I see you as an ally, and I know we're stronger together than apart." There's also a profound psychological effect when we ask for help. It breaks down the illusion of perfection and creates space for authenticity. Both partners can see each other more clearly, beyond the masks of competence and control. This authenticity leads to greater intimacy and a deeper emotional connection. When your partner sees you as a real person with needs and vulnerabilities, they're more likely to feel comfortable sharing their own struggles with you. This mutual openness creates a feedback loop of trust and support that strengthens the relationship over time. In the end, asking for help is an act of strength because it requires you to overcome fear. Fear of judgment, fear of rejection, fear of appearing weak. It takes strength to be honest about your limits and to trust that someone else will meet you with understanding and care. In a young relationship, this kind of vulnerability sets the tone for everything that follows. It tells both people that it's safe to be real, to ask, share, and to grow together. And that is the foundation of a love that lasts. Trust grows through shared experiences. It's one of the simplest yet most profound truths about human connection. When two people come together in a young relationship, they're not starting from a place of deep familiarity. They're beginning with curiosity, attraction, and hope. But hope alone isn't enough to create trust. Trust requires time, and more importantly, it requires experiences that reveal each person's character, values, and willingness to be there for one another. Shared experiences act as a mirror, reflecting not just the good moments, but also the challenges and vulnerabilities that come with being human. It's easy to trust someone when things are going smoothly, but the real test comes in those moments of uncertainty, discomfort, or even conflict. For example, think about a couple who plans a trip together. At first, it's all excitement and anticipation. But then, maybe they get lost, or a flight is delayed, or one of them gets sick. How they handle those situations, whether they turn on each other in frustration or work as a team to figure things out, tells them so much about the reliability and emotional resilience of the other person. These shared moments become more than just stories. They become the fabric of trust. Shared experiences also create memories, and memories are powerful anchors. When you and your partner look back on those moments where you overcame something together, big or small. You reinforce the idea that you're capable of weathering life's challenges as a team. It's not just about the event itself, but about how you both showed up for each other. Did you listen when they needed to vent? Did you offer comfort when they were overwhelmed? Did you celebrate small victories together? Each of these moments tells a story of mutual support and reliability. It's important to understand that trust doesn't come from grand gestures or dramatic declarations. It comes from consistency in the everyday. It's built in the quiet spaces between words, in the moments when you're present for each other, when you follow through on your promises, and when you show that you're reliable not just when it's convenient, but especially when it's hard. These shared experiences aren't always glamorous. They can be as simple as cooking a meal together, running errands, or even sitting in silence. But each of these moments creates an opportunity for trust to grow. One of the most overlooked aspects of shared experience is that they also help you understand each other's boundaries, communication styles, and emotional needs. Through these interactions, you learn what makes your partner feel secure, what triggers their fears, and how they prefer to be supported. This understanding creates a relationship where both people feel seen and valued. It's through these shared experiences that you begin to trust not just that your partner will be there, but that they will understand and respect who you are. There's also an important element of reciprocity in shared experiences. When you show up for your partner, and they show up for you, you create a loop of giving and receiving that strengthens trust. It's not about keeping score, but about building a reservoir of goodwill and mutual respect. This reservoir becomes invaluable during tough times. When conflicts arise, as they inevitably will, the trust you've built through shared experiences helps you navigate those moments with more grace and understanding. You know that your partner isn't just reacting to the situation, but is anchored in the foundation of trust you've both created. Ultimately, trust grows through shared experiences because they reveal the real, unpolished sides of each person. They strip away the masks we often wear in the early stages of a relationship and invite us into something deeper and more authentic. When you and your partner face challenges together, celebrate victories, or simply share the ordinary moments of life, you're building a connection that's rooted in reality, not just fantasy. That's where trust lives, in the spaces where you choose to show up time and time again. Asking for help shows humility and respect. It's a powerful gesture that says, I value your insights, your strengths, and your presence. Many people mistake asking for help as a sign of weakness, but in reality, it's one of the most genuine expressions of connection and trust. When you ask someone for help, you're not just seeking assistance. You're acknowledging their worth and inviting them into a shared space where they can contribute. This act communicates that you don't see yourself as superior or infallible. Instead, you recognize that relationships thrive on mutual support and collaboration. In young relationships, where partners are still learning about each other's worlds, asking for help breaks down walls. It shows that you're willing to admit you don't have all the answers, and you trust the other person enough to share your uncertainties. This humility creates a safe space where both individuals can be authentic. It shifts the dynamic from one where each person tries to appear perfect to one where growth and learning are valued. You're not competing to be the most capable or the most independent. You're building a partnership where each person's strengths complement the other's. Humility is a rare and underrated quality in relationships. It's easy to let pride dictate our actions, to pretend we don't need help, to insist on solving everything alone, to resist admitting when we're wrong or uncertain. But this kind of pride can create distance and resentment. It can make the other person feel excluded, unneeded, or undervalued. When you ask for help, you're doing the opposite. You're saying, I trust your perspective. I respect your abilities. I see you as someone I can lean on. This creates a deeper bond, one built not on ego, but on genuine appreciation and interdependence. Asking for help also requires a certain level of self-awareness. It's an admission that you recognize your limitations and are willing to grow. This openness to learning is not only humbling, but also deeply respectful to your partner. It shows them that you value their unique experiences, insights, and skills. You're inviting them to share their knowledge and contribute to your journey. And in doing so, you're creating a space where they feel important and appreciated. And it's a subtle but powerful way of saying, you matter to me. It mattered to me. Moreover, respect is a two-way street. When you ask for help with humility, you also model behavior that invites reciprocity. You show your partner that it's safe to ask for support, to admit vulnerabilities, and to lean on each other. This mutual respect and openness form the foundation of trust. It's not just about solving problems. It's about building a relationship where both people feel seen and valued for who they are, not just for what they can do. Consider a young couple navigating a new stage of their lives, whether it's moving in together, facing financial decisions, or handling family dynamics. If one partner tries to shoulder everything alone, it can create a sense of imbalance and isolation. But if they say, I'm feeling overwhelmed with this, can we figure it out together? They're not only seeking practical support, they're showing respect for the other person's input and creating a shared sense of responsibility. This simple act of humility can transform challenges into opportunities for connection and growth. Asking for help also reinforces the idea that relationships are not about proving individual capability, but about creating a partnership where both people contribute to each other's well-being. It's a reminder that no one has to have it all figured out. By embracing humility and showing respect through for help, you're nurturing a relationship built on honesty, trust, and mutual support. Over time, this creates a bond that is strong enough to weather life's inevitable challenges because both partners know they are valued and respected. Reciprocity strengthens relationships. It's a concept as old as human connection itself. When we give to one another and receive in return, we create bonds that are not just functional but deeply emotional. In the context of young relationships, reciprocity means showing up for each other, not out of obligation, but from a genuine desire to contribute to each other's well-being. It's about balance and mutual care, where both partners recognize the value of giving and the vulnerability of receiving. When we enter a relationship, especially in its early stages, it's natural to want to impress the other person. We might give more than we receive, trying to prove our worth or our commitment. However, if this giving is not reciprocated over time, it can lead to feelings of resentment or imbalance. Healthy reciprocity means that both partners contribute, sometimes in small, almost invisible ways, and other times in grand gestures. It's not about keeping score, but about maintaining an equilibrium that makes both people feel valued and supported. Think about something as simple as a conversation. So the conversation. When one partner shares their worries, their hopes, or even just the details of their day, and the other listens with genuine interest and empathy, that's a form of reciprocity. It's an emotional exchange that reinforces the idea that both partners are willing to be there for each other. Over time, these small acts of listening and responding create a pattern of mutual respect and understanding. Each person learns that they can count on the other, not just for practical help, but for emotional support as well. Reciprocity also plays out in the willingness to ask for and offer help. When one partner asks for help, whether it's with a decision, a task, or even just a listening ear, they're giving the other an opportunity to contribute. This act of asking is often perceived as a gift because it allows the other person to feel useful, trusted, and important. And when that help is given freely, without resentment or hesitation, it strengthens the bond between them. It signals that the relationship is a safe space for both giving and receiving. In young relationships, it's easy to fall into the trap of imbalance, where one person gives and the other takes, or where one partner feels they must always be strong and never ask for support. But over time, this dynamic can create distance. The giver may feel unappreciated or exhausted, and the receiver may feel disconnected or even guilty. True reciprocity counters this by creating a natural rhythm where both partners feel comfortable switching roles. Sometimes the supporter, sometimes the supporter, sometimes the supported. This balance isn't about keeping things perfectly equal at all times. Life circumstances will shift. One partner might face a crisis and need more support for a period, while the other provides it. Later, those roles might reverse. The key is the underlying commitment to mutual care. Knowing that you can lean on each other when needed builds a deep reservoir of trust. It's not just about individual acts of giving or receiving, but about creating a relationship where both people feel safe to express their needs and confident that they will be met with compassion. My thoughts. Reciprocity also fosters a sense of partnership when both individuals contribute to the relationship's growth, whether by planning dates, handling responsibilities, offering encouragement, or simply sharing laughter. They create a shared sense of ownership. The relationship becomes a space they've built together, a place where each person's efforts are recognized and appreciated. This shared investment makes it easier to navigate challenges because both partners feel equally responsible for the relationship's success. Ultimately, reciprocity strengthens relationships because it turns love and care into action. It transforms good intentions into meaningful gestures, and it creates a cycle where both partners feel valued and empowered. It's not about obligation or keeping score. It's about the joy of giving and the grace of receiving. And in this ongoing exchange, trust deepens, bonds strengthen, and love grows. Fear of judgment holds us back from building trust. It's a quiet but powerful force that often lurks beneath the surface of our interactions, especially in young relationships. When we're afraid of being judged, of being seen as imperfect, vulnerable, or somehow less than, we put up walls. We hide parts of ourselves. We pretend to be stronger, more confident, more capable than we really are. But in doing so, we limit the depth of connection we can experience. Trust isn't built on perfection. It's built on authenticity. And fear of judgment keeps us from showing up as our authentic selves. In the early stages of a relationship, both people are often cautious. They want to present the best versions of themselves, hoping to impress or at least not to scare the other person away. This is natural. But if the fear of judgment becomes too strong, it creates distance. Instead of being open about doubts, struggles, or even personal quirks, we hide them behind a facade of confidence. We say we're fine when we're not. We pretend to agree when we have a different opinion. We avoid asking for help or admitting weakness because we're afraid the other person will think less of us. The irony is that this fear doesn't protect us. It isolates us when we don't share our real selves. We're not giving the other person a chance to know us deeply. We're not allowing them to see the parts of us that are messy, complicated or in need of support. And because we're not being real, we can't fully trust the other person either. How can we trust that someone loves us if they don't know who we truly are? How can we believe in the strength of the relationship if it's built on half-truths and careful performances? Trust grows when we take the risk of being seen. When we share our fears, admit our mistakes, or ask for help, we're inviting the other person into our world. We're saying, this is who I really am. Can you accept me, flaws and all? And when the other person responds with understanding, compassion, and support, trust deepens. We learn that we don't have to be perfect to be loved. We learn that we're safe to be vulnerable, and that our real selves are worthy of connection. Fear of judgment also keeps us from being present in the relationship. When we're constantly worrying about how we're perceived, we're not fully engaged with our partner. We're distracted by self-criticism, second-guessing our words and actions, and trying to anticipate how the other person might react. This mental preoccupation makes it hard to listen deeply, to respond authentically, and to create the kind of shared experiences that build trust. Breaking free from the fear of judgment takes courage. It requires us to embrace imperfection and to recognize that vulnerability is not a weakness, but a strength. When we stop trying to control how we're seen and instead focus on being honest and present, we create space for genuine connection. We show the other person that we trust them enough to be real, and in turn, they're more likely to feel safe enough to be real with us. This mutual vulnerability is where trust flourishes. It creates a relationship dynamic where both people feel accepted and valued, not for their image or achievement, but for their authentic selves. Over time, as we practice this openness, the fear of judgment diminishes. We start to believe, not just in the relationship, but in our own worthiness of love and acceptance. And that belief becomes the foundation of a partnership that is resilient, supportive, and deeply trusting.